video we're going to be talking about why I chose the K24 over the turbo, and main reasons for me choosing the K24 was like an overall time saving, reliability wise. Now you have, like the 1.8 you can turbo the 1.8 stock and you can get 300 horsepower, and you can probably get away with it depending on how healthy the engine is. But in my case, I started stockpiling parts like pistons, rods, seals, well, the whole thing to make it reliable. But let's say you don't want to make it reliable, you just want to, turbo it versus the K-swap in the car. In this aspect, there's a lot of similarities between turboing and K-swap in the car. For example, for both swaps, or for the turbo versus the K-swap, you have to get an ECU, fuel control management type of system, right? So in ECU, the Mega Squirt is about $600 to $800. The K-Pro is about $600 to $800. You can find them both used and save there. But let's just talk about the similarities and make a distinction there. So let's say ECU, you need one of those. You need headers, because the K Miata needs headers because they don't sell them aftermarket like that. It's only in particular you can get them done yourself, but you still need headers. The turbo, you need a manifold for the turbo. That's not count a turbo. Then you also need injectors for the for both cars if you want to make decent power. You need exhaust work. You need some electrical work. There's a lot of similarities. At the end of the day, it comes down to cost, and the cost just turboing the BP4W head with the 1.8 bottom end versus K-swapping. I did the math and it's basically $5,000 both of them, give or take $100 one or the other. So when I saw those differences, I was like, the turbo is not going to be as reliable as an all-motor Honda engine. So that's why I went that route. And to be particularly honest, I think if I would have turboed my car, I had 180,000 miles and I would have to rebuild the engine. And when you go into that, that's where the K-swap seemed more attractive. Example, to build a 1.8, it was costing me almost $1,000 something with the proper, rods, pistons, basically a whole, the whole machine shop situation. And when I did the math, rebuilding the 1.8 and turboing it was going to be around $3,000, or give or take, how you do it, and machine costs and parts over the K-swap. The K-swap, give or take, cost me about $8,000. Not like you see it now, because right now it has more custom work, it has more, details, like the intake was done, like exhaust work, a lot of more details. But overall, the K-swap, it was cost me about $8,000. Give or take a few hundred here and there for coolant, spark plugs, better wire, wires, whatever. But the turbo itself, let's say I rebuild it and I turbo it, still not going to compare on track to the reliability of a naturally aspirated, close to factory Honda engine. You can't beat it. So for me, that's the route I took. So it looked more appealing to me just because of cost, to be honest. A lot of people might think, damn, K-swapping, that's a lot of money. But if you want to turbo your car cheaply, you can do it fairly cheap. That's fine. And it could last you a long time. But then you have heating issues. You can't run away from it. You're gonna have to pay more attention to detail. The tune has to do a lot with it. But if you want to do it right, reliably, and durable, it's gonna cost money. And if you want the engine to last, it's gonna cost money. Well, talking about naturally aspirated, you can also make a case for the V8 Miata, and I think the LS Miata is amazing, and it brings out a lot of potential out of the Miata. But you know, cost-wise, I didn't think it was, you know, reasonable, you know, because I'm not like rich. I don't make enough money to be able to afford an LS swap Miata. Compared to an LS swap, there's a lot of work and a lot of parts that a lot of people don't take in consideration. They think it's just drop and go. Compared to a K-swap, there's no such thing. You're gonna be into the build for a long period of time unless you pay somebody to do it for you. You gotta hack the firewall to be able to fit the LS swap. You have to get a new subframe for the LS swap. You need to get a new beefier, heavier transmission for the LS swap. You need to get you know, a differential that can handle the power of an LS swap. You know, and that adds weight. That adds a lot of, you know, I think it does a disservice to a certain extent to the Miata, because the Miata is known for being lightweight. With an LS swap, you more than 9 times out of 10 you're gonna end up with 2,600 pounds of a Miata, which is almost 300 pounds more than what a NB or an NA weighs, considerably. And it's a lot of work and a lot of money. That a lot of people say that you can do it for $10,000. Personally, I don't see how that's even possible unless you absolutely fabricate everything yourself. You know, cheap out on everything that you possibly could, and you know, I don't see it happening. And for me, I considered an LS swap, but when I saw that, you know, 15,000, you know, 17,000 in parts alone without counting labor, that to me is too much money. You know, I'm a 9-to-5 guy. I work for everything I got. So to me, an LS was out of reach, and I could have just waited and saved and bought the LS parts slowly. But I am young and I want things now. So the easiest route for me was just K-swap in the car. A lot of people say SR20, but the SR20 in reliability doesn't hold the candle to the K24. And you know, that's not me saying it. That's the people that own the SR20 Miatas. And you know, yeah, the LS is good, but you gotta have deep pockets for that. And to be honest, if you do the math versus turbo versus any other swap you can possibly think of, the K Miata has the biggest aftermarket in comparison to the 4-cylinder. The LS has a big aftermarket too, but you know, for a 4-cylinder, all motor, reliable, newer engine, the K24 is unrivaled in my opinion, and that's why I went with it. So talking about weight, when I first bought my car weighed 2,380 pounds with a half a tank of gas. That's reasonable Miata weight there. With the NAs, I think factory they come 2,100, 2,200 on the heavy side. After I got in my car and after I did all the weight reduction with the K24 swap, when I went to corner balance my car at Apex Alignment, which if you don't know about them or him or the company itself, I think in South Florida, I think Albert is the best. And you know, alignment is very important. So if you want to check him out, go. I highly recommend him. He's the best. When I went to corner balance my car before the wing and the frame rails, without a roll bar, and just like I got in my other videos, if you want to check it out, you know, go to my profile, check it out. I have a video showing, you know, talking about how I got in the car. It was 2,017 pounds with more than half a tank of gas. 2,017 pounds. That's extremely light for a car that still has power windows, and you know, I love it. It's compared to an LS swap, 600 pounds more. It's a big difference, especially when you're talking about horsepower to weight ratio. I think that's a good place to be when you're talking about 220 horsepower and, you know, 2,000, basically 2,000 pounds, give or take. That's before me in the car. I like eating. I weigh 200 pounds. With me, it's 2,200 pounds. So yeah, it's a light car. Well, having said that, guys, you know, like, I don't want you guys to take my personal opinions and my, you know, like, everything I say too hard. You know, I think any builds you guys are embarking in, it's worth the trip. You know, I think if you do it yourself, you're gonna be happy with whatever it is you pick, either LS, SR20, K-Swap, turbo build, 1.6, 1.8, whatever you guys want to do. It's gonna be fun, and you guys are gonna love it regardless. I'm just sharing with you guys my personal experience with you know my choice, and maybe you guys are on the wall, on the fence. You know, should I, shouldn't I, should I? But overall, I think whichever route you pick, it's gonna be just fine. And respect all builds, you know, except the stance guys. We hate those guys, you know. No, I'm just kidding. We don't hate them. All builds are fine, you know, they're cool. If you like it, go for it, you know. But yeah, guys, this is my experience with the K24 Miata swap, and you know, I hope you guys liked it. If you liked it, hit like, subscribe, and you know, in the future I'll be having more videos about my experience with my car, my engine swap, etc. And you know, if you have any suggestions, leave a comment. Tell me what you would like to see. Tell me what you would like to, you know, for me to talk about when it comes to my car, when it comes to autocross, track days, etc. So yeah, awesome.